I'm Bob Augustine, Dean of the Graduate School, and it's my honor to serve as your host this afternoon and to welcome you to the 10th anniversary of the creation of the Center for Academic Technology Support, lovingly known as CATS. So, how is Eastern Illinois University different on January 24th, 2012, in contrast to a decade ago? 210 technology-enhanced classrooms and auditoriums, high-end technology tools, including smart boards and document cameras available for teaching and learning, faculty development and training for every technology program and support training for students, comprehensive support services to launch new technology initiatives, such as laptop initiatives, use of Turning Point and Turnitin technologies to improve student learning outcomes, a fully staffed web office to create and advance web resources, and the creation of My EIU for recruitment and retention. Annual upgrades in hardware to ensure that computer labs and facilities meet or exceed student learning demands. A comprehensive multimedia production lab with closed captioning for all media productions. Staffed, trained in the development of mobile apps to ensure EIU access via mobile devices. Consistent electronic and print publications, a fully staffed state-of-the-art center for advancing learning technologies, technology awards, technology grants, policies, procedures that foster and support the advanced use of technology. Well, universities are expected to meet challenges, and they're expected to show return on investment, and they're expected to provide leadership. But CATS, you have surpassed those expectations. All of the technology assets that I just outlined that are now part of our daily experience were unavailable and generally believed to be unattainable and unaffordable at that time. There was no CATS, there was no plan, and there was no vision at that particular time. But then, as now, we had an asset that forged our future for us, that motivated important change from the state we were in to an era of achievement. And of course, I speak of the EIU faculty, so I'm going to ask all the EIU faculty and department chairs to stand right now so we can thank you for helping us create the future. Please stand so we can acknowledge your contributions to this great university. It was the faculty who served on that Council on Academic Affairs committee that created the report titled Report of the Task Force on Technology Enhanced and Delivered Education. That was the catalyst for change that came from our faculty. And here at Eastern, we have a history of achieving excellence through this faculty leadership, and in June of 2000, the president of Eastern demonstrated that excellence by acting on that CAA report on behalf of CATS. And in recognition of this important step in Eastern's technology journey, I'm honored to present a plaque to former President Carol D. Searles, acknowledging her leadership as a catalyst for change on our campus. Dr. Searles was unable to be here today, but it is my honor to present the plaque to our current president, Dr. William Perry. President Perry?
Thank you very much, Bob, and on behalf of the university, a grateful university, I accept the plaque in recognition of President Searles' contribution to technology and change at EIU. One of the advantages of being my age is you can remember you were there as technology evolved. I remember the IBM Selectric typewriter. Wasn't that awesome? And you even had different kinds of typing balls you could put on the typewriter. I like the one that mimicked handwriting. Of course, now we have word process. Well, not word processors. We have these iPads and iTouches and iThings, where we're able to do lots of things with lots of creative fonts and so forth and so on. I remember. I don't remember glass plate negatives, but I do remember film. And then I remember Polaroid, and of course now we have digital And I don't know, of course, what's next from there. I remember the early calculators, the early hand calculators that cost what, Peter? $400 or $500 to do multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and maybe a square root or two in the mix. The cost has been driven down, the capability has been driven up, but it doesn't make any difference what's out there in terms of technology if you don't plan for it and don't take advantage of it. And that's what's happened here at EIU. And we really are on the cutting edge of the use of technology for learning and teaching. And I'm very grateful for that, as all of us, I'm sure, are. Now, in our strategic plan, the current draft, which was presented to the Board of Trustees at our meeting last Friday, and I want to thank everyone in the room who has been involved in that in terms of the steering committee or being involved in any of the participation sessions. But in the strategic planning document, the words ubiquitous learning come up. There's a desire for learning to be any place, anytime, anywhere, on any device at EIU. And that's strategically important. But more than that, it's a statement we could not make. It's an aspiration we could not have were it not for the hard work, the great work of many of you in this room and others who have come before you to build the platforms that we have here, to have the drive, the initiative, and the motivation to continue to upgrade our facilities and have the best possible learning and teaching environment at EIU. And so I want to thank everyone, in particular Dr. Searles for her initial motivation and initiation of this, but also everyone who made it possible for us to be at this stage now where we do indeed have an excellent learning environment, a technological environment for our students and faculty, but we're ready to take it to the next level. Now, what that level is, we don't know, and what the impact of it will be, we cannot know, but we are planning for that as well. We have a committee in place to discuss online learning and how the technology that's available for us fits in with our students' objectives and our faculty's objectives in having a first-rate educational experience at EIU. If you think about the history of the university, yes, it was founded in 1895. Yes, Old Main was completed in 1898 or so. You look at, 100 and almost 20 years now in the existence of the university, and you look at the existence of CATS for 10 years, you could say, well, 10 out of 120, that's just a little under 10%. It's about 8% of the history of the university. But I think anytime you do these calculations, you have to take into account the change factor, the complexity factor. And I would argue that the last 10 years at Eastern, in terms of technology and the development of it, equates to at least 75% of the history of the university. So it's been huge impact in the last 10 years. My guess is in the next 10 years, the impact will at least double. And there's probably a Moore's Law somewhere around it that would give you a better estimate. So I look forward to the next 10 years of CATS, the contributions of CATS, the collaboration of faculty and staff all across the campus to make that impact as meaningful or more than it has been for the last 10. So thanks very much for the opportunity to just make a few remarks in this regard, and also to thank everyone who's been involved in bringing us to this current very, very good position with regard to technology. Thank you very much.
In academic affairs, we create strong collaborations among faculty and staff to translate a presidential charge into an action plan. In October of 2000, that step was taken by Interim Provost Dr. Lyda G. Wall when she created the Technology Enhanced and Delivered Steering Committee, which came to be lovingly known as the Teddy Committee. A committee I had the honor of chairing, and a committee composed of, not surprisingly, Eastern faculty and staff, many of whom survived the committee and are in this room today. So as I name you, I hope you'll stand and be recognized. The faculty included Linda Simpson, James Tidwell, Dana Ringett, and Christy Hoosier, and Ron Wolstein. And the administrative partners included Jeff Cross, Will Hine, Elizabeth Hitch, Jim Johnson, and Bill Witzman. I wish some of you who were here would stand so we could recognize you. Thank you. The charge was create a campus-wide conversation in the spring of 2001 and create a new model of technology-enhanced and delivered education at Eastern based on campus-wide input. I communicated with Dr. Wall in December, and she sent the following message for me to share with you today. It is hard to believe that it's been 10 years since the Center for Academic Technology Support was established, and I am so pleased to know that the center, which was launched as a result of the Teddy Committee recommendations, is proving to be a worthwhile and successful endeavor. You'll like this part. I recall that it was launched during a financially difficult time and met with some opposition. I'm sorry I won't be there to be in Charleston for the luncheon to help celebrate the impact of the center, but my thoughts are with you and the Eastern students, faculty, and administration. I wish you the best in your endeavors and know that the center will prosper in the next 10 years. So on behalf of CATS, I am honored to present a plaque to former Provost Wall, and accepting on her behalf is our current Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Blair Lord.
I knew I had some speaking part today, but I didn't realize I was accepting a plaque on behalf of my predecessor, Dr. Wall. Between Dean Augustine, who's given sort of a history of the development of CATS and the progress of technology development and growth here at Eastern, and President Perry's remarks about his recollections of how technology has changed and appreciation for the faculty and leadership of CATS, and instilling that into our academic enterprise here, instilling it into the education we offer our students. There probably isn't a whole lot left to say. In fact, I was sitting there talking that there really isn't a whole lot left that I have to offer. I do remember when I came here over 10 years ago, Bob has talked about how that was the gestation period, the very beginning of CATS. The leader of CATS at that time was Mr. Technology himself, Dean Augustine, which may say all we need to know about how far we still had to go. Sorry, Bob, that was too easy. I had the opportunity to supervise, to work with a search committee that was in the process of identifying new leadership, continuing leadership for CATS. And after the first round of interviews, I said, time out, I don't think we have the right person. And we redid it. And I didn't have James Tidwell talk to me for several years after that because he's the chair of that committee and he had to redo the search, so he got to do it twice. And he's nodding his head. Yes, that was true. And we ran the search again, and Dr. Mike Hoadley was identified. And I think the leadership that Mike Hoadley brought to CATS, the ability to anticipate technology, the ability to develop a staff that was very responsive to faculty needs, to anticipate the changes in technology and help the staff prepare themselves and prepare the faculty to be able to infuse that into the enterprise, speaks for itself. And we really are here to largely celebrate the development of CATS and the leadership. I'm also very pleased that I got to run another search. Picked on a different person. I let James Tidwell off the hook this time for another leader after Dr. Hoadley left, and John Henderson is doing a fine job in that regard. As we start up a mountain of technology, and it always seems like a mountain. I know it seemed like a mountain when I first arrived and Dean Augustine was leading CATS, and it seemed like a mountain when Mike Hoadley arrived and continued to lead CATS. And we get a long way up it. In fact, President Perry mentioned in the strategic plan and in earlier versions, I spoke with Vice President Weber and said, it continues to talk about all the things that we need to look forward to. Let's not make it imply, or let's not have it implied that we haven't really scaled a long way up the mountain and are doing very well right now, because we are. But as you go up this mountain, I swear it has an elevator under it. It keeps getting higher, and it's going to get higher. The faculty have responded beautifully in these 10 years to with the assistance of CATS to infusing it into our education. I want to thank all the faculty that have done that, the people who've been recognized over the years at this luncheon, and I will express my appreciation for what I know will be your continuing devotion to working with CATS, with your students, and in continuing to make the educational opportunities here enriched with technology and your own intellectual skills as well. Thank you. Welcome for being here.
It's always a humbling experience to be around the provost. So, from that CAA report to the Teddy Committee recommendations to the legacy of CATS, at your tables later today, you're going to get a copy of this document that you see on the screen, a 10-year retrospective, and in it, you'll see some of those important dates. May the 1st, 2001, the Teddy Committee presents its recommendations. July the 1st, 2001, CATS is launched. August the 19th, 2002, Michael R. Hoadley begins his tenure as the first Assistant Vice President for Academic Affairs for Technology, and that brings me back to my first comments. Remember, 210 technology-enhanced classrooms, technology tools, training, a webmaster, upgraded hardware. Eastern achieved these goals because of a strong and visionary leader. He created campus-wide collaborations to advance our academic technologies based on the recommendations of the Teddy Committee. Dr. Hoadley oversaw the upgrading of those classrooms. He made the student technology fees invested in the right properties. He organized committees and boards to get input for the best way to advance technology on our campus. And he was the one who had the vision and the leadership that brought us today to January 24th, 2012. Mike was to be here today, but drat that darn Wisconsin snow and ice prevented him from being with us today, so we could thank him in person for an amazing period of leadership on our campus. But accepting on behalf of Dr. Hoadley this afternoon is our current Vice President, John Henderson. John?
I received an email from Michael this morning, and he said to send his regrets that he could not be here for today's celebration. And he also said icy roads, drifting snow, and high winds made travel impossible yesterday. Why would you move to the tundra? I don't, But he is definitely honored that this is named after him. The faculty award will be named after him, and he said it especially reflects well on his staff. So if that staff would stand and recognize Dr. Hoadley. Could you come up here, please? You've heard the first real director of CATS was a non-technologist. Well, he really did get that organized and going. I remember I had left for Wisconsin and I was part of that committee. Bill Witzman finished up for me, but I've been on several committees with this gentleman since then, And I mean, he's just a taskmaster. He just makes you work, 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 work. So we would like to present for Dr. Augustine for your outstanding leadership commitment to the success of CATS.
Thank you. Well, you know, I had to work all those months with Jim Tidwell. It wasn't easy, let me tell you. I'm still in therapy. So you've learned from Vice President Henderson that one of the ways we plan to honor Dr. Hoadley is to recast and rename our technology awards in his honor as the Michael R. Hoadley Technology Awards. But before we got to today, there were many, many faculty and staff who earned awards for technology in the past under Mike's tutelage. Would all those who have earned technology awards who are in the room today please stand and let us recognize you? Another reflection of Mike's great work. So, the inaugural recipient of the Hoadley Instructional Technology Award is Dr. David Graycon, Professor of Communication Studies, for his project titled The Reconceptualization of Communication Studies 3500, Electronic Media Relations. Dr. Graycon, will you please join me on the stage? And I don't know, are we going to be able to show the video? Okay. Before we show the video, I wanted to tell you something about Dr. Graycon's project. Dr. Graycon writes, in this course, students construct projects by actively implementing the ideals of social advocacy, social justice, or some other community-based initiative by producing a series of multimedia projects incorporating new media technologies, which are then distributed on a WordPress blog. Each project requires a self-introduction video, a digital photography to master composition and framing, a digital slideshow requiring audio narration, and a mini documentary. This approach has transformed the course from one that required completion of a traditional research paper where only the professor would read and evaluate the project to one in which the research project is a flowing visual artifact distributed to a worldwide audience, receiving responses from many constituents. The new approach directly relates to the university's integrative learning initiative, where students interact with the community and with social organizations while mastering both research and multimedia skills. Students completing the course have noted these particular things about the course. The skills that I learned have increased my range of tools that I can market for future employers, and having experience using Final Cut Pro has given me the crucial competitive edge that I need. In his closing comments, Professor Graycon noted that he will be organizing a workshop for the annual Allied Media Conference at Wayne State University to discuss this innovative use of technology and pedagogy. Congratulations, Dr. Graycon.
Okay, thank you all very much. I'm very honored to receive this award. I feel very appreciated, and it truly validates the hard work that went into the Electronic Media Relations course. I would like to thank CATS and Dr. Hoadley for this opportunity. I would also like to thank the Department of Communication Studies and our chair, Mark Borzi, for nominating me for this award. I would also like to thank the other communication faculty members that helped with the design of this course. This course was a collaborative effort. It wasn't just my doing. In particular, Carrie Wilson-Brown, whose expertise with new media helped shape the course. I would also like to thank the students of the 3500 class. If it wasn't for their patience, drive, and initiative, I wouldn't be standing here right now. And I often tell them, when we talk about filmmaking practices, that it's filmmakers that make films, not cameras. And this is actually a quote from a somewhat famous, somewhat underground filmmaker, Maya Deren. But it was this idea that the technology itself doesn't drive the innovation. It's your ideas behind it, and using it as a tool to effectively use it is what is most important. So that's a philosophy of the course, and I think it's something that we like to think about in our department as well. I would also like to thank the educational institutions that helped me to get to this point. That would be the University of Oregon School of Journalism and Communication, go Ducks, and also the Department of Media Studies at SUNY Buffalo, and to a lesser extent, go Bulls. In sum, I'd like to make a quick note about integrative learning. I feel that this is a very powerful pedagogical initiative, and it really helped me to conceptualize the link between local communities and hands-on new media practice. I hope this initiative will continue to gain more strength in the future, and I'm hoping this course serves as a lucid and effective example of integrative learning. If you have any other questions or would like more information about the course or the kind of projects we did, feel free to get in touch with me. Thank you for the consideration and for the recognition in this award. Thank you.
My new media project is about the revitalization of the Charleston downtown square. The downtown area is meant to capture the essence of the town and draw the community together by providing a visually encapsulating place to walk, eat, shop, and socialize with friends. The Charleston Square has the potential to establish this type of atmosphere. It has strong buildings with beautiful old architecture, as well as antique shops that capture the importance of history within the town. These buildings also establish the small town feel, as there are local shops and minimal flashy signs drawing attention to the space. Despite the beauty they display, many of these buildings are vacant or out of business. Very few people visit the square, and even fewer appreciate the beauty it displays. The tension lies in keeping the beautiful old buildings while still developing stores to fit the modern era. The focus of my project is not so much on replacing the existing stores, but on filling the empty ones. The vacant buildings create a deserted feel that repels people, especially young college students. Since Charleston is very much a college town, it is important to target this audience in the design and layout of the downtown area. The goal of this project is to show the potential of the current downtown square in Charleston and to build off what it already has to create a more popular gathering place for both students and members of the community.
Before we finish this afternoon, would you join me in thanking the incredible work of the Center for Academic Technology Support staff for all that they've done for this university? Thank you. I believe I have fulfilled my obligation. Is that right? Get a book and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.